Hey everyone, as promised, we are going to review the Mattycollector Blue Lion from Voltron, and I'm sorry to say this is just another step in the Trail of Tears of 2012.
Somewhere at the bottom of the lake, the Blue Lion is resting.
I wanted to do this review earlier in the month, but unfortunately Mattycollector sent me a broken Blue Lion with a busted neck ratchet. As you can see, the Blue Lion is essentially the same as the Yellow Lion. They're both the legs of the final construct. The only differences here are the Blue Lion has a differently sculpted head and some different details on the body. But without a functioning neck ratchet, the Blue Lion wouldn't be able, at the ankle joint, to support the final 24-inch robot, so I had to get it sent back for a replacement. This one also had a blemish, although not fatal to its design. I don't know what they're doing at the factory in Asia, but the quality control, as I said in the last video about Green Lion, just isn't there. This one, this major body component was dropped. It looks like on a concrete warehouse floor during assembly. It has a completely rounded off corner with a huge scuff on it, and then they just picked the part up off the floor and they didn't throw it in the reject pile. I think that's what's really ticking a lot of collectors off about this whole collection. They have neither the detail nor the articulation. They feel more like toys that you would get at Toys R Us for a 7-year-old, but you're paying the price of an exclusive, display-worthy item. There have been quality control problems all along the way with the Mattycollector line. They've been plaguing this thing since the beginning. The Red Lion, for example, was very lackluster. It's basically a big red hunk of plastic with very tight ratchet joints that scratch very easily when you try and manipulate the lion. When we got to the Yellow Lion, the lion itself was fine. As a matter of fact, that lion's probably been the strongest one in the entire line for quality. But the hunk action figure that came with it, the joints were inexplicably loose, like from a heavily played with toy that's 30 years old. So you can, pick Hunk up and rattle him around and his legs just flop all over the place. Then we got to the Green Lion, and the Green Lion, as you saw from my video review, the canopy doesn't latch, so it's constantly flopping open, which isn't going to be good when you've got a left arm on a robot that's constantly opening up and the figure's falling out. This one's taken it to another level. Not only was this the first time that I received a broken lion, and a lot of people have been receiving broken lions throughout the line on some level. It was a key component that was internal, so I couldn't fix it. But just looking at the box, and I'm going to show you a close-up of this, let's assume you're a mint collector and you're buying these as an investment or you like keeping them in the box. Well, Mattel has made these display boxes so that you can put them on the shelf and display them while still seeing the object inside, which is, really cool in theory. I'm not the only one to report this. There are greasy fingerprints all inside the plastic here, and you can see them. They're just these thick, greasy fingerprints all throughout this. Now, I've had 3 in my hands over the last few months because of the 2 that I purchased plus the one I had to exchange. All 3 boxes are this way. And I don't know what's going on at the factory in Asia, but Mattel is not cracking down on the factory that they've contracted for these. And it's turning out to look like amateur hour. The Princess Allura figure that comes with the Blue Lion is pretty solid. She doesn't have the joint problems that the Hunk figure had, and the helmet placement for this alternate head is properly positioned, much like the Lance figure was. But there's one oddity to this character that I can't figure out, and I've seen it in multiple examples. While the normal head with her blonde hair showing seems fine when positioned on the neck, this one, it looks like she's tucking her chin and looking down on the ground. I don't know if she's supposed to look more authoritative with her helmet on, if that was the idea, but when you put the helmeted head on Allura, she kind of goes down like this, and it's really strange. This was the most highly anticipated edition of the Voltron Mattycollector subscription, because this one comes with the subscription exclusive figure, Sven. Sven was the cult character for a lot of fans. He's in the black uniform. He wasn't on the show very long. He's kind of like Wedge from Star Wars. There's a lot of people that really love Wedge because he's sort of the pilot that if you're not paying attention, you don't notice him, but when you do, you realize he's in all 3 movies. Sven was kind of that character. He was the one that the real fan could get behind. He was offed early on into the show, and then the princess takes over. So we were all really looking forward to getting this figure as well. Now, I will say that as far as the quality control problems go, they don't affect Sven at all. He looks great. He's got great detail, great sculpting. Both of the heads that come with him are excellent. He's really sharp, and I think Mattel knew to put their effort into the subscription figure. The problems with Sven don't lie in the figure himself. The problems with Sven lie in the mystery of his packaging. This makes no sense to me. Okay, for example, every single figure in the Voltron subscription comes in one of these boxes. It's a nice window box, so you can display the figure in or out of the box. If you take the figure out of the box for a while and then you want to put the figure back in, you can. And then you have sort of eternal mint in the package conditions for your collection. And that would make sense because you've paid for a premium subscription toy line. Now look at Sven. He comes in a traditional card back with a bubble. If you want to take Sven out to display with the rest of your lions, you're going to have to destroy this packaging. So if you've only ordered one subscription, you're out of luck. Whoever made this decision wasn't thinking clearly. And I think I understand the rationale behind it, but even then, it doesn't make sense. This card is reminiscent of the Panache Place cards that those figures came on in 1985. It has the same beveled edges. It generally looks like the card design from back then, but if that's what they were going for, why didn't they put all the figures on those cards? Why just Sven? And then here's another question I've got. They picture him on the card in his non-pilot casual outfit. None of the other figures are depicted on their boxes or on the blister cards from back in 1985 in their casual outfits. They're depicted as they are in the toy itself. Sven is also sculpted in his pilot outfit. He's not sculpted like this. If they were trying to make an homage to Panache Place, then they should have put him in the pilot uniform like they would have for all the other characters. Another thing I can't figure out, and I've never seen this on an action figure ever, and I've been around a lot of action figures in my lifetime, he's got holes plugged into the side of the bubble. And I don't know if that's for ventilation because of conditions at the factory where they're trying to keep moisture out, or if Sven needs air. Is he a firefly in a pickle jar? And of course, the last thing I need to mention, this set comes with another piece of the blazing sword. In this case, it comes with the cross guard. Now, I was lucky in that I hadn't assembled the sword before I found out that my Blue Lion was broken and had to send it back for an exchange. Because what Mattycollector demands is that you send back the lion and the pilot that goes with it. So I had to send back Princess Allura as well, and the cross guard. Now here's the catch. This sword, once you assemble these pieces, once you snap each piece on, they don't come apart. It is pretty much permanent unless you want to tear up the tabs to rip it off or crack it. So if I had assembled this sword, I would have been in some serious trouble. It's really cool to see them this big, but that's it. They're not well articulated, they're not well designed. It's a disappointment. By this time in the run, I think it's safe to say that the Voltron that finally comes together is going to be an equal disappointment. It reminds me of when I saw Attack of the Clones in the movie theater in 2002. I got through the film, it sucked just as bad as Phantom Menace did, and at that point I realized there was only one movie left to wrap everything up. So for me, that Star Wars trilogy was dead. There was no way in one film they were going to correct all the problems. And the Voltron from Mattycollector is the same. Put a fork in it. It's done.
Get ready to assemble! Activate interlock! Dino therms connect